flag and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call, Ms. Henning.
There is a quorum.
Thank you. Looking for any additions or deletions? Or meetings in progress, just so everybody knows. Any additions or deletions to the agenda for Wednesday, March 20th, 2024?
Chair McGrath, the only thing I would offer is that Erin Taylor is not able to be with us today, so you have a written report from her on the YT legislative update. We certainly can still discuss, but Erin won't be able to join us.
Okay. Any other additions or deletions or changes? Well, then I would request a motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
Excellent. So it has been moved by Trustee Williams and seconded by Trustee Wasserberger to approve the agenda for the regular Gillette Community College District Board of Trustees meeting held today, Wednesday, March 20th, 2024. All those in favor, or any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. All right. I would now like to move to the consent agenda. Any just request a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I so move.
Second.
Excellent. Any discussion? Hearing none, then it's been moved by Trustee Anderson and moved by Trustee Gee, or second, excuse me, by Trustee Gee to approve the consent agenda for our regular GCCD Board of Trustees meeting on March 2024. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. All right.
Just as a note, Chairman McGrath, the agenda that I have has minutes from February 21st, 2023. What is it on the main agenda?
I'm 21.
Of 23 or 24?
24, I have 24.
Okay, so it's just on the motion.
Yes,
Thank you.
correct. Thank you for that. Noted. On to for the good of the district. February and March staff and faculty spotlight. President Overlander.
Chair McGrath, trustees, we have a lot of wonderful things to celebrate today. So first, we're going to start with the February and March faculty and staff spotlights. For February, our staff, and they're going to pull it up on the website for us so you can see their spotlights. Our February staff member of the month was Elizabeth Gutierrez, and we're pleased that she was able to be recognized. Elizabeth works in our library and has been a fabulous and a foundational member of our district that certainly enjoys her work and is certainly so helpful to our students. So we're pleased. And I don't think that she is here with us today, but we're so pleased that we can recognize her for all of her hard work. In March, Galen Boyle was recognized as our staff member of the month. She unfortunately is not unfortunately, she's on jury duty, so she's not able to be here with us today as well. Galen was in our bookstore for quite a long time, and now she has moved into our records position, and so helps out a lot with student records and making sure students' files and all of their information is intact, and their academic record starts with her. So she has done a phenomenal job transitioning into that role, and so we're just so pleased that she was able to be recognized, and we're so glad to have her on the Gillette College staff. And then in February, our faculty member of the month was Mr. Rob Livingston. Rob teaches, he came to Gillette College to teach in our mine tech program, if you remember that program. He now teaches in our engineering program. He's a geologist. If you go into his classroom, you'll see all of his rocks. He loves the rocks, and so he does a great job with our students. He's done phenomenal work connecting with our engineering students with the School of Mines over in Rapid City, takes students over. School of Mines comes here, and he's just done a phenomenal job, and his energy in the classroom and with our students is just beyond compare, and we're so proud to have him on our staff and on our faculty. So Dean Fashbaugh is here, and he reports to Dean Fashbaugh. So anything else you'd like to add, Martin?
Well, I had the opportunity to
Go to the mic.
oh, yes. I apologize. I'm not used to this. Yeah, I had an opportunity to observe Rob Livingston in his classroom, and he used the word phenomenal, and that is indeed true. Um, It's a introduction to geology class, and in that class, he really provides students with a lot of active learning opportunities. They're given a chance to really touch the rocks that they're studying. He's taking them on a field trip later on this month. I really wish I had him when I took geology about 30 years ago.
On staff. So those are our staff and faculty highlights for March and February. And we're just pleased to recognize outstanding team members at Gillette College. Prior to this meeting, before the agenda went out, or as the agenda was going out, we had some exciting events happen with our basketball teams. And so it's my pleasure to have Coach Neary and Coach Lewis join us today. As you may be aware, Coach Neary was voted as the Region 9 North Coach of the Year, his first year back. So we're just so pleased to recognize him today. They had a season of 27-5 for the year, pretty phenomenal for a first-year team in rebuilding. And so he would like to announce, I'm going to have you announce your player awards. He has some players that were named and receiving honors. So do you need the list? I have it here if you need it. I think you probably know.
Thank you. You want me to speak into the
Yeah,
mic?
you gotta speak to the mic. Thank you. So
Yeah, first of all, you guys made a great decision bringing back athletics. And it was our goal from the very beginning to make a statement to the region and really to the nation that we're back. We fell short at the Region 9 tournament, got beat in the semis, lost to Trinidad State by 3, so we were eliminated. Disappointed, of course, but we've built a good foundation as we go forward. So appreciate everyone's support. And I don't know how many of you were able to come to the games this year, but holy cow. I mean, the place was every game. I mean, whether it was a Wednesday night or a Saturday afternoon, the place was rocking. And I just think that's a testament to our community supporting Gillette College. And we're just a little piece of it. But I'm glad we had a good season to get it started. The region's not happy we're back, and I like it. As far as postseason awards go, we had 3 players that were nominated and voted for the all-region team. Jaden Witter-Watts is a sophomore transfer that we had from Toronto, Canada. He got first team all-region. Boone Kibi is a sophomore transfer that we had. He was second team all-region. And then Drew Fuquay is a freshman that we had from Detroit, and he was honorable mention. So in men's basketball, the top 3 vote getters get first team. The next 3 vote getters get second team. And then the remainers basically get honorable mention. So Jaden will now be in the discussion for possible All-American honors. And if anybody saw us play this year, I think he's the best player in the league. So I'm hoping that he gets recognized at an All-American level as well. We've had 5 All-Americans in the 12 seasons we had our program here. We had 5 All-Americans. So that's better than anybody in the country. So hopefully we get one more. And then our last honors this year was Jaden was also named to the all-tournament team, the Region 9 all-tournament team, as was one of our other freshmen, Ja'Kai Gupton, freshman that we have from Oakland and Phoenix, where he finished high school. So again, thanks for everybody's support. Let's just keep building this thing and keep doing it. Next year, we should have a chance to host the Region 9 tournament because the winner of the North gets to host it. So obviously that's our goal. And you guys, some of you may remember the last time we hosted the Region 9 tournament. It was the highest net profit, if I'm saying that right, of any Region 9 tournament held in the history of the tournament. We had great support, and obviously we played in the championship and won it. So we got to get back to that. Anybody have any questions?
Can you keep us informed as to the transfer prospects for your sophomores?
We sure will. And, that process is kind of ongoing now and just trying to find the right school for them, the right fit for the program that they go into, and then the right academic fit. And so we have 3 sophomores, and, we're in the process of putting that together now. And for sure, we'll keep you guys posted.
Trustee Gee.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Coach. We're glad to have you here. Thanks for taking the time. How are the kids liking, and this probably is for both coaches, how are the kids liking being in Gillette for those who aren't from here? And, you know, how's it fitting into their academic vision too? Any feedback?
Yeah, you know, having the program for 11 years and now our 12th year, I mean, first of all, you know, we have great facilities. And, you know, I put our facilities up against any junior college in the country without question. I always tell these guys our dorms are too nice. They should live in a cinder block and be able to punch the wall wherever they want and nothing breaks. You know what I mean? But we are lucky. We're fortunate. We have great facilities here. That's a big deal. And all of us that have kids know that when our kids go someplace, having a nice place for them to go is a big deal. So that's a huge help. Our community has always embraced our athletic program, unbelievably embraced our athletic program, as well as I'm sure all the programs. But people have been phenomenal in Gillette. When we restarted the program, it continued. So much support. We started an adopt a pronghorn player program for the men's and women's basketball team. When we started the program, I brought that from Miles Community College with us. I thought it was a way to connect our student athletes with people in the community. You know, sometimes you can just go dorms, gym, classroom, dorms, gym, classroom, and it just becomes, you don't get any of the experience of the people and the place. And so that's been a huge thing for us. It's great to see our guys, and you may have seen them after the game interacting with their host families or host parents. What a huge thing that our community, and Jamie Howe is the one that now organizes it and does a phenomenal job with it. But that kind of stuff ties our student athletes to our community. And that's what creates to me, that's what creates, you know, a bond. They care about us more because they know us more, you know. And that's been huge. And then obviously having success is huge because that, you know, that just perpetuates it. It's just, you create that flywheel of momentum of success, and we want to continue to do that. So I have never had a student athlete in my 11 years and then this year ever complain about Gillette. And it's small compared to where they're all from. And it's generally colder compared to where they're all from. Although this year was kind of a different deal. And I kept telling them that. I tried to keep them humble. I said, it ain't like this every year. Believe me. That's why we got you those big winter parkas. But no, yeah, I've never had a guy complain. Just,
Great.
and if they do, I'm gonna send them home because they should not complain about this. I mean, it is really good. And so it's been very good. So thank you for asking.
Trustee Walker.
I was just wondering, how many returning freshmen do you anticipate getting back?
Yeah, so we're just in the process, you know. We lost on Friday, so we're all still kind of PO'd and it's all a little raw still. So we're just kind of meeting with them now and figuring out where everybody's at. And generally that process takes, you know, anywhere from a couple weeks to a couple months to figure out who's coming back. But it's important that we do kind of get an idea because that dictates our recruiting. So, you know, we try not to recruit over what we have. We try to recruit what we need. And so we do have to kind of go through that process, and that's begun. But at this point, it's too early to tell. We had a really good freshman class. I hope we can bring most of them or all of them back. I think that'd give us a great foundation for next year. So I'm hopeful most of them do return. But at the same time, if they get an opportunity to get recruited to leave here, you know, our part of our process, I think, of being a junior college athletic program is that we're helping you move on, and we're helping you move on even if it's 1 year or 2 years. And some of them have to stay 2 years because of the academic requirement required by the NCAA, and some of them can leave after 1 year. So we're always trying to help them move on if they're able to and they're eligible to. So, yeah.
Well, congratulations to you and to your team.
Yeah,
You
appreciate
guys
it.
did great and made us all proud.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
it
I
was a
really
fun
appreciate it.
season.
Yeah, thank you.
Trustee Williams.
Oh, well, thanks, coaches, for a great year. I know you're right. We had a lot of people show up for the games, and I know they really appreciated that. It was good to see a student body down there making all kinds of interesting. teams.
Making it tough on the other team.
Anyway,
And by the way, Nello, if I can interrupt, our student body was chill, is the word they use now, chill. Our student body, I think it's good. I don't really know that. I'm still trying to learn the lingo, but
it was a fifties thing, Jim.
chill, well, it's back. Few words I'm learning that are back but anyway, our student body did a great job. And when we go on the road some places, this group was chill or tame compared to the stuff we hear. So I thought our student body represented well, but
No, you're right. It was fun to see that. So you're 25-5 this year?
27-5.
27-5, so next year we need to be 28-4, is that what you said?
Good with that. Let's just go undefeated. How's that sound?
Well, thanks for all you guys did. It was a great thing for Gillette, and I don't know how many comments I heard out there. It was nice to have activities back, basketball, soccer, volleyball. It's nice to have it back, so.
Chair McGrath, I think which also was wonderful is Energy City Voices has performed all but a handful at every home match, game, the national anthem for us. So I thought that was awesome as well. So,
Pretty fantastic.
yeah, absolutely.
Any other questions? Coach Neary, Coach Lewis, thank you. You had to battle a lot of injuries as one that attended the game. You lost some girls to various injuries, concussions, ACLs, a lot of things. It was,
Everything possible.
I give you a lot of credit for your team and your coaching staff, a lot of credit enduring a lot of tough injuries to battle through. To the point we had to bring some rodeo, who really contributed well to you, and a couple of your rodeo here who were big contributors, so.
Creative, that's for sure.
Can you come to the microphone as well? Coach Lewis has district honors as well, but I think if you were in the arena for the women's games, the momentum just built all season long. And to that first district game, the crowd was phenomenal and so supportive of our team and so excited with that win. So Coach Lewis, anything to add, but also talk about your regional awards?
Just like Sean, I'd like to thank everyone, and I do think it's the best decision ever made, bringing athletics back for sure. It's been a great year, a great season. Like Trustee McGrath was saying, we struggled at the beginning of the year with some injuries and things like that, but I think we had a very successful season. We finished 16-16. We were 500, and I think we were very good at continuing to put a competitive group out there on the floor for all the struggles and adversities that we faced our first year. We also finished fourth in our conference. We finished fourth, and we were able to host the first round of the tournament against Northwest College. That was kind of fun. It was a huge group, exciting. We ended up winning that game in order to host by 1 point at the buzzer. So if you were at that game, you can imagine how exciting that was for us and for our players and for Dasani Nesbitt for making that shot. We did not get anyone on the all-region team, which shows how much the conference hates us. Because finishing fourth in the conference, yet we don't have an all-region player on our team is, in my opinion, a little bit disrespectful. So we got a little bit of a chip on our shoulder for next year to go out and prove. But we did get Alyssa Beckford did make the all-defensive team. If you've been able to watch her play, Alyssa is a phenomenal athlete. She's very good defensively. She's better when you give her absolutely no responsibility, but to just play defense, because she runs around and gets lots of deflections. Once you give her an assignment, I think her brain makes her feet slow. And so we just say, hey, go play your game, girl, because she just does an excellent job when you give her freedom. So if you ever get a chance to watch her play, she is a phenomenal athlete. So, but I also would like to just add on to what Sean said. I brought a recruit on campus on Monday, and I love bringing recruits, and she's from St. George, Utah. And so anytime you bring a kid from a bigger city and things like that, sometimes you have a little bit of worries, but her family was incredibly impressed with our facilities, with our community. I love taking them out in the community, and we just run into people. It takes longer. The tour always takes way longer than I planned because we run into people and we talk, and they are excited. They want to get to know her. And so it's just a great community. And I just love bringing recruits on campus because it's the first place I've been where it's not easy, or it's not hard to show off. It's not hard to show off how amazing it is here. And I've never brought a kid on campus that we haven't got. So I truly believe that if I can get them to visit and I can bring them here, that they'll sign. So again, thank you guys so much for everything that you've done for us. I'm so happy to be back. I'm happy for the great season that we had for our position. And again, thank you guys for everything. Appreciate it.
Just two other quick celebrations. So as you know, Kayla Amos was named a 2024 New Century Workforce Pathway Scholar. there was only one recognized in the state, each state, and she was the highest score for the state of Wyoming. So she'll be recognized at the ACCT Leadership Congress in October out in Seattle. And so we'll look forward to celebrating with her. She had planned to be here, or she had planned to send a video to us. Unfortunately, she had some family emergency she had to attend to yesterday, so wasn't able to do that. But it's quite an honor to receive this scholarship from Phi Theta Kappa, and we're just pleased that our chapter continues to be strong. The last piece of good news that I will share with you, as you're aware, in partnership with Bochis, we are offering MSHA to all of our high school students. And so there was a fabulous article in the News Record, and that article was picked up by the Assistant Secretary of Labor, and it caught their eye. And Jim Stratton, who is our director of MSHA, received a phone call from Kevin Deal, the interim director of Educational Policy and Development for MSHA, stating that the Assistant Secretary of Labor was very impressed with our programs training of high school students. He was very complimentary of our programs. So again, national attention for Gillette College and the awesome programs and work we do here at Gillette College. So congratulations to our MSHA team, and thank you to our Bochis partnership for training those students.
Thank you for that. So thank you to Ms. Yeager, Mr. Livingston, and Kayla Amos, and obviously the MSHA program, and of course the coaches. So thank you. Any other along those lines? Then we will move to good news from the trustees.
We have the VFW appreciation with Brian, Mr. Gates.
I missed that. I'm sorry. The VFW appreciation. There it is. Mr. Brian Yeager and Lee Gates. Please come to the podium. I apologize, gentlemen.
Good morning. I'm very pleased to present to you a friend and mentor to me for years, Mr. Lee Yeager, veteran of Vietnam, local commander of the VFW 7756.
Thank you, Brian. Overdid it a little bit, but I appreciate being here, and our post is, we're community-based. We try to do as much as we can in the community and help our veterans especially, but any of the students going to high school, we give out scholarships for all 4 high schools in Campbell County, and we just try and do as much as we can to give back to the community and their support of us. And we're getting quite a influx of support. It's really been great. I've enjoyed being around and doing things. My biggest pleasure is helping veterans. And I appreciate the college for hosting our district meetings here and helping us and giving us anything that we might need for meetings or just to help out. And I appreciate that. And I do have a plaque from our post I'd like to present to the college and get an appreciation. We appreciate your support.
Lee, thank you so much. And thank you for all you do for veterans. We're so pleased.
It's a pleasure.
How many veterans do we have in Campbell County?
In the county, I believe the latest trend is right around 6,200, but we believe those numbers are likely low.
6,200.
Correct. Yeah, there is, veterans are literally everywhere, folks. When you take a closer look at the demographics, National Guardsmen qualify as veterans, especially after they complete their initial boot camp and their AIT school or A school, whichever way they may, depending upon which branch they may join. We are right around 62 veterans this semester on campus, which is actually an increase in spring numbers, which is nice to see. That does not include dependents, which is going to push us actually closer to 7. One thing I would offer, one quick comment I would offer while we have Dr. Oberlander captured for a quick moment, this doesn't happen very frequently, is the district meetings for both the Veterans of Foreign Wars and the American Legion occur right here on Gillette campus. And that includes all the posts from across Northern Wyoming, to include Sheridan, Buffalo, Sundance, Newcastle. It really is a collaboration of veteran leadership in Northern Wyoming. And that is an excellent culture, which then permeates post 307 here at Gillette College. Good leadership, which stems through your cabinet and also through our board of trustees. So you all have some ownership in it, creates good culture. And that is what we have. And we really wish to say thank you for the partnerships that we have in this community, which have created, for lack of a better word, saves in our young veterans and in our community. This morning, I met with a young man who has newly discharged from the United States Marine Corps. And his first paycheck, he started work immediately, and he will join us in fall for the industrial electrical program, but his first paycheck won't hit until April, I think 15th or 16th. And he's a little short and he doesn't know how he's going to keep the wolf off the door. Well, we created an initiative to address that over a year ago. And after a $33,000 gift from hometown veterans, we have the proceeds to address it. And he'll be here in fall and he'll be ready to go. And that's what your culture and your leadership supports. Thanks for everything.
Thank you again, gentlemen, and thank you for all you do for our community and your service. Any other, so now on to the good news from the trustees. Any good news from the trustees? Trustee Anderson.
My grandson Wade, who is a senior at Campbell County High School, placed third in the state advanced Spanish poetry competition,
Congrats.
which is sort of amazing. He's not a poetic kind of guy.
Any other good news?
I think it was excellent.
Yeah.
There you go.
Any other good news? I have one. My daughter Avery, who's a senior at Thunder Basin, is going to be one of the salutatorians, so I'm very proud of her for that. And she's going to walk, getting her associate's degree here at Gillette College. In a couple weeks. So for her, about a month and a half. So pretty excited about that.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I have one.
Trustee Williams.
I got two. I'm great grandfather now. Natalie. We have a granddaughter, great granddaughter. So as of about 3 weeks ago. So, and then the freshman was selected to Wyoming's All-State Basketball Team. I don't know when the last time we had a freshman in the state of Wyoming selected to All-State basketball, but. And then his brother, Lodeens, a senior, was all conference basketball. So.
Congratulations to Natalie and Cody. Anybody else? All right. Moving on to our organizational reports. We'll start with Dr. Oberland.
Chair McGrath, trustees, thank you so much. It is budget season at Gillette College and we are working through that. We'll finish. We implemented budget hearings this year, as you may recall, and so we'll finish those up next week. It's been helpful for us to go through with the budget supervisors on each of their priorities, what they're looking for, what their essentials are within their budget. So we'll finish those up next week. Then we'll begin the process of bringing the full budget together, looking to see where we're solid, looking to see where maybe not this year, and then bringing the budget to the finance committee. You do need to have a budget workshop in May before the 15th. You could certainly do it on the 14th, which is the day before your meeting, or you could do it before your meeting on the 15th. It's entirely up to you, but we do need to get that scheduled and get it on the books for you so we can get it announced. We can schedule that through the chair or however you want to work that, but we do have to have that budget workshop. We have spent this semester, and we'll continue this into the summer, doing industry visits with our industry partners, specifically in the current technical education field. So Executive Director Heidi Gross, myself, and our CTE Dean Travis Grubb have had really great visits so far with our partners out in industry. We're very pleased that they continue to support our programs. We're very pleased that they continue to hire our graduates. And by and large, we're hitting the mark on what they need for training. Most of the people we have met with are either involved in our advisory board or they have staff that are involved in our advisory boards for each one of our programs that serve their business. So very complimentary. Industry supports our programs, they approve our programs, and so that's what we do, right? We train for the workforce here in Campbell County. And so on that note, Lindsay Wakefield, Dean Wakefield, provided me with some statistics from nursing for job placement. So all of the graduates, 100% are working as RNs, and this is from last year's graduating class. 100% are working as RNs. 15 of the 24, or 62.5%, are at Campbell County Health. 17 of the 24, or 70.8%, are working in Gillette. And 21 of 24, or 87.5, are working in Wyoming. So 17 graduates are in Gillette, 2 are in Sundance, 1 is in Newcastle, 1's in Sheridan, and the others must be out of state, is what I understand. So again, our goal and our mission is to train for the industry that we serve here in Campbell County, and I think we're doing a great job with that. Since our last meeting, we've hosted a couple of really great community lectures. One was with our partners down at the School of Energy and Resource with the University of Wyoming, and we hosted a carbon capture and storage. Commissioner Ford participated on that panel. We had a nice turnout. I always learn something new when I listen to Jim and Scott Quinlan from SER Speak. Always very interesting. And they spoke about carbon capture from a big picture, talked about what's happening in the basin, and then also what's happening on a federal level. And so I think it's just really important that we continue to educate our community about what carbon capture and storage is and what it is not, and also what opportunities we have as an institution to be involved in those projects. Earlier this week, we also co-hosted with University of Wyoming Agriculture Department an Energy Innovation Seminar. That was also with the University of Wyoming. Their interim dean, and I'm missing his last name, Kelly, and their foundation director, Pepper Jo Six, were here to participate in that. I believe Senator Barlow was on that panel. I unfortunately was not able to attend, but I understand there was a nice turnout for that as well. We continue to work on partnership within the ag realm. What does that look like? What does it look like for Gillette to begin and start some sort of an ag program? We have some draft done on an MOU, so we look forward to bringing that forward when you're ready. The other piece that we're actively working on with the University of Wyoming and the Northern Wyoming Community College District is an MOU that's in progress for our dual language students. So those students who are at Stock Trail Elementary and now starting to come up through the pipeline who can get college credits. They're doing test outs, and then they'll be able to advance into the upper division Spanish courses. And so because those are upper division courses, we need to have that MOU in place with the University of Wyoming. That's drafted. And so we continue to work through that and bring that to fruition so those students have that pathway. We're very pleased about that as well. Since our last board meeting, we've had 2 tech showcases with approximately 250 high school students from across the county and across the region. They come and they hear about all the tech programs that we have available at Gillette College. They do tours. And so we look forward to seeing what that conversion rate is, right, from those visitors who apply and who end up coming to the college. But the exposure is so very important to students. To see what they have available to them right here in their community, or for those students who are within the region. We have a student coming from across the Bighorns who has been here 2 or 3 times, and he is excited to get here and he's excited to begin work with Gillette College. So we appreciate that and look forward to seeing him in the fall. As you know, we submitted the next step for the accreditation process, the letter of intent to submit eligibility on March 1st. And so what continues to happen is our deans and directors, we call them the grid team, they each have been assigned to a group because the application has questions to be answered. Many of those questions were answered in our original application. They need to be updated, but each one of our deans and directors are assigned to a question. And so they began working on those questions. We did some focus groups at professional development in the spring to gather information from our community. Now they're taking that and vetting out the information they receive, but also looking for the gaps. What gaps are there? What evidence are we missing? What evidence do we need to go collect? This summer, we'll really focus in on getting the draft of that application done. So we can, again, update evidence, make sure that we have everything we need, work with our liaison at the Higher Learning Commission, really make sure that's solid. So when that last audit, because really we want that audit that you'll approve in November, we want to upload that. And by December, we should be ready to submit. So we keep working certainly through accreditation. The CDL program, which we're really excited about. We had a great meeting with Travis yesterday to talk about where we're at with the CDL program. We now have a director hired who's getting ready to hire instructors. This is WIP funded. Remember, Wyoming Innovation Partnership is WIP funded. We are just actually in the process of also submitting our estimated budget for WIP Phase 3. It's the continuation. It's those support dollars to help get this program continue to launch. So we anticipate, we believe we're on track for a June start. Equipment's coming in. As a matter of fact, as we speak, the CDL simulator is being set up behind the tech building. We're really excited about that. We look forward to getting you all into that simulator probably in June. So you can give it a shot. Marty Brown is the Director of Workforce and Community Education. He now has his website up. You can find it on the Gillette College website under services and about us. And he's got a website and it's got the classes he's offering, starting to gain momentum. I know you're happy about that, Trustee Palmer. This was your bailiwick and something that's really going to serve our community well as we go forward. We're pleased that BOCES will support the program, not only in funding for the program, but also funding for students. And then Executive Director Gross has a great announcement to make in her report about some additional funding. And then finally, the last thing I'll leave you with is we're gearing up for Skills USA, which you all know is an important competition for us. We host the automated manufacturing competition on campus on April 12th. These are state competitions. It's to determine who goes on to the national in Atlanta in the summer. And then on April 13th, we have the diesel state competition. We have more students signed up for the diesel competition than we ever have. We have 22 college students and 18 high school students. So this morning, Travis was working with the coordinator of the competition to figure out where we're going to put all these competitors. So it's a good problem to have, and I have no doubt we will find a solution. So much happening. Spring is a busy, busy time, but it's also a really great time for recognition of our students and our faculty and staff who do such a phenomenal job. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions, President?
I'm going to put Jeff on the spot here. And I'm sure probably a lot of you don't know this, but the dual language is set up in such a way that the kids that come from Stockton, if they continue in the dual language, have to go to Campbell County High School. And you could live a block from Thunder Basin and go to Stock Trail, but you still have to go to Campbell County High School. And to me, and I think to some of my colleagues I've talked to, is a way that the college can help the school district relation to get these kids that graduate from Stock Trail have the choice to go to either school, which we don't do that now. And so, Jeff, can you enlighten us a little bit on that?
Trustee Williams, I'm not sure that is really for us to decide. I think that's a school district, Campbell County School District decision. I mean, as much as we want to help them, I think there are a few programs offered at either school that are only offered at one school, and unfortunately, that's one of them. Now, I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying, but I'm not sure if that's, yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's the role of BOCES or more of the school district.
I think a lot of it is numbers. You have
Sure.
50 kids, you can't split them up and have.
Sure, McGrath. I guess I would look at it the same way as that Stock Trail offers that program for the elementary students. Likewise, not other elementary schools offer that as well. So I think it's probably a budget item as well as a numbers item. And so if Campbell County is hosting that program, I think it's great that they have the opportunity to go on into secondary and whether it be Thunder Basin or Campbell County. I think it's great either way. And if a student has to travel over to Campbell County as the alma mater for my three children, I think that's great. Nothing against Thunder Basin, but I think as Chair McGrath said, is that certain programs are going to be at certain locations. So interesting discussion, but I think it remains with the school district, not the Board of Trustees.
What one? I think it's worth the discussion.
Yeah, but I appreciate
Well,
it.
yeah. Is there a way that the college can provide that particular person with Thunder Basin and to get these kids, some of these kids back to their school area? I mean, that's my question is, you see what I'm saying?
I could be wrong, but I don't think that the college credits that are potentially available for those students are through accreditation.
Chair McGrath, trustees, so Renee Fritzen is the instructor who teaches Spanish for us, but also, Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong, she teaches for the high schools as well. So she's certified to offer those classes as dual or concurrent enrollment. And so if she's at the high school, it's concurrent. If she's teaching here, it's dual. So where the district places her is absolutely up to the district, but dual enrollment, she would be here for us teaching those classes.
And the testing that the students can test out of and receive credit, is that also through currently in WCCD's accreditation, or is that something else?
So Chair McGrath, trustees, so we're familiar with the CLEP exam. The CLEP exam has nothing to do with us. We offer it at our testing center. But it's my understanding the school district has given a test called FLATS. I am not familiar with that. Executive Director Wasserberger is not either. So we need to learn about that test. I think they administer that right there at the school. I'm just not familiar with that exam. So, but the CLEP exam, we do offer that through our testing center here at Gillette College. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions for President Overlander? One question I have, so you talked about the workshop, the budget workshop for May 14th or before our meeting on the 15th. Is that something you want us to discuss now or push to the April board meeting, or what is the pleasure of the board? I mean,
What is the pleasure of the board?
what do you guys want to have that discussion right now of deciding when that? Perfect. Let's decide that. Would the board rather May 14th in the evening? Yes, sir, trustee.
I guess, Chair McGrath, my first question is how much time do we need to set aside for the workshop?
It's a great question. Last year, I remember, Vice President Larson, do you remember, did we spend about an hour last year for the first workshop?
Chair, I would suggest an hour to an hour and a half is what we did last year. We've done in the past. By the time we get to the workshop, we've already had our internal meetings and conversations with finance committee and.
So
60 to 90 minutes.
May 14th is a school board meeting night.
Okay. So that doesn't work well for you.
It doesn't.
I would offer the morning of prior to our, since we're already planning to be here for the meeting on the 15th, or we should be planning to be here for the meeting on the 15th, that we do it the morning of the 15th. Works for everybody.
Meeting of the morning of the 15th, so you would suggest, I'm not gonna say you suggest, so I would say then we would start at 10. Well, I mean, if she says 60 to 90 minutes, I'm fearful to start at, I mean, I would rather start at 10 and get done early and have a little room in there for lunch. I mean, I know it's an hour and a half, it becomes a long day, I get it, but
Question that I have is if this is a public hearing, and you ended up having it in the evening so that it's available for more members of the community.
Chair McGrath, trustee Anderson, this isn't the public thing.
Okay.
The
That's
public
in-
hearing takes place in June.
correct, that's in June.
Okay.
So this is just our workshop for us.
I would agree with you, Josh. Let's do it at 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock?
That works for
10
me.
o'clock?
I'll make it work.
Okay. If you could please put it on our calendar. 10 a.m., May 15th. Have a quick 7-minute break in there to eat and then move into our board meeting. Okay. Excellent. Any other discussion from President Overlander's report? All right, moving on to the Gillette College Advisory Board report, Chairwoman Angie Loxo.
Trustees. So a few things going on in the advisory board right now is we're seeking someone from the banking industry to fill a vacant position on our board. And another thing going on, we're working on to update the bylaws of the advisory board. So those two things are what we're currently working on. So as far as the industry sector report, we had Scott Durgan spoke to us about the mining industry this month, which was very interesting. From the perspective, I learned a lot. The natural gases continue to drive the price of coal, whether or not you use natural gas to power the plant or coal to power it. So that's when the natural gas prices are low, they're obviously using natural gas. So that's been part of it. So he said anything under $2.50 starts to impact coal. So the lower BTU mines are affected the most. And Ms. King said you want coal with higher BTU. This is all learning on my part.
Good work.
Yeah, so anyway, so which there's three mines in our area, one being NARM, one being Black Thunder, that are higher BTU mines. So he said coal is down 10 to 12% from last year, which makes shipments down. It's still steady, but down overall secondary to weather and the temperature. And again, we've had an unusually warm winter. So maybe we'll have a hot summer and that'll be good for us. So obviously oil is a huge factor with the coal mines. And he said the kind of the sweet spot for oil is $80 a barrel. Is a good balance for everyone in both industries. And he said, to give you an idea, NARM on average spends $2 million a month on diesel fuel. That's incredible. So that was that. And then he also did say the renewable side of energy has not filled in as much as is expected. So that's good for us too. And then we have Chris Jadosi from the oil industry, and she said, again, the BLM is not allowing many leases. So at this point in time, they have 5 rigs outside of town, 3 in Utah, 2 in Oklahoma, and 2 in North Dakota. That's kind of what's going on in that industry. If you have any questions, I can maybe answer them.
Any questions for Anthony? That 250 is an MCF, but. Yeah, well, yes, but MCF.
Okay.
Million cubic feet. I only learned that
Okay.
from my brother-in-law, Jeff.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
Isn't that incredible?
it's a lot of.
It's a lot of fuel. Wow.
Chair, I'd just like to comment. I'd like to thank the chair of last time. You bring some interesting, just in the couple of meetings that you
Agreed.
joined us, you bring some very interesting information and some good topics. I think the advisory board really has some, you have some good discussions. So, and thank you for sharing with us, board of trustees.
Thank you for that. That's a great point.
Thank you
for coming and
very much.
the perspective. Any further questions? Moving on, Gillette College Foundation, Executive Director, Ms. Gross.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Board of Trustees. I was asked to give you an update of where we are at with our rodeo ag complex, the work that's going to be happening out there this summer. So Matt Olson with the county reached out to me, and I'm just going to give you a really brief list of what they are going to provide during the construction. One thing we were made aware of is the EDA grant that the county secured is not going to pay for anything that's not considered to be construction relatable. So these other things that we had talked about possibly going forward with, that's not part of the EDA grant. So I just wanted to make you know or aware of that there is a distinction here. So in the letter that Mr. Olson sent to the foundation, he said that the gate and the cattle guard will be relocated to the new entrance location. The current access driveway will be abandoned, which will involve removal of existing scoria surfing, grading, and reclamation and seeding. New permanent fence will be installed along the right-of-way, and that'll be 4-wire barbed fence. Temporary fence will be installed along the extents of the temporary easements during construction, and the approach from the new driveway to Box Elder will be paved all the way to the right-of-way, 75 feet from the center line of the road. The foundation did prepare a response back to him, and in our response, we outlined those items. We also asked that during the construction, that an access route would be maintained and an all-weather surface access route would be maintained for 2-way traffic at all times. So those are the main items in the response that we sent back to the county. We did request a few other things that we would like the commissioners to consider. We have not heard anything from the county in regards to those requests. So that is all I know right now. I do know that yesterday in the commissioner meeting, they did award the work to HDR, the engineering work. So they're moving forward on their end. But that's really all I have to report on what's going on at the Rodeo Ag Complex right now.
Trustee Paul.
Chair McGrath,
Yes.
Executive Director Gross. So a couple of questions. How long is this project? What's the duration of this project?
Well, they were going to try to start this summer. I know that during Camporee, they will cease construction activity out there because it's going to be so busy. But I am not sure, Mr. Palmer, of the exact length of time. The foundation board discussed this quite extensively, and the feeling on the board is we certainly do not want to delay this project because it's important for economic development for Campbell County. And we understand that they have an EDA grant. There's stipulations with that. And of course, we want to support that Pronghorn Industrial Park. So, but I will be happy to share more information. I'll be certain to share that with President Overlander as soon as we hear back from them. But we do know that they will be maintaining access to the rodeo ag facility at all times.
I guess one follow-up.
Yes.
Is, will they be doing congestion mitigation at all times?
I'm sorry, what was that, Mr. Plum?
Will they do congestion mitigation? What I mean by that, will they do dust control? Because you've still got livestock out there. You want to make sure that we take care of our rodeo participants. And so because of, that's just prairie out there.
Mm-hmm.
So given the dry summers and springs and winters and falls that we've had here recently, I guess I want to make sure that they've got CMAQ, some kind of congestion mitigation, air quality procedures in place.
Thank you very much, Trustee Palmer. I will make sure I send that note and pass that along to Mr. Olson. That's who we've been coordinating with, because I don't think that was in our original letter. So thank you for pointing that out, and I will be sure to reach out to him.
Heidi, could you give me an example of what isn't going to be covered then that under the ED grant that possibly then, I guess I'm making the assumption is going to fall back to the foundation?
Well, I wouldn't say that they would fall back to the foundation. So one of the things that we had talked about, the city is going to be putting in a lot of infrastructure out there, and it would be really nice if the county would provide that access to the rodeo ag facility, because they're going to be annexed into the city, and it would be nice for the rodeo ag complex to have those same opportunities. So again, those are just some of the things that we have asked for, but we have not had any conversations at all. So you're welcome.
Okay. Any other questions?
I have a question.
Okay.
When Matt was here the last time, we talked about, landscaping,
Mm-hmm,
tree planting and irrigation system
mm-hmm,
with the trees.
mm-hmm.
Are we still with that?
Quite frankly, Trustee Williams, I don't know if that's part of the EDA grant. I don't know. I'm not familiar with that grant. So I don't know if that would be required by that grant. I'm not sure of what those requirements are. I was just told that that's where they're focusing right now, is to stick with the EDA requirements, because that's what they're going to pay for. So I don't know about any landscaping, irrigation, anything like that.
Any other questions regarding the rodeo facility? Okay.
Okay.
Is that it for your entire report?
No, I have just a couple other
Okay,
things,
that's
but
why I
I'm going to
thought-
be
but I thought
brief.
I'd be sure.
I'm going to be brief.
Oh, you're
So Dr. Oberlander touched on this briefly. We were very lucky. We received an $80,000 grant from the Daniels Fund, and it is for CDL scholarships. I just received the letter of agreement this week, so the funds will be dispersed here within the next 30 days. And the people that'll be eligible for those funds will be adults, adult learners, new and returning, GED recipients, and veterans. So those are the students that will be eligible to receive this grant. I'm in the process right now of setting up a meeting with our business department folks, and also with excuse me, Travis Scrub and Marty Brown, so we can discuss how the process for awarding those funds. We have 1 year to award those. So we're going to be spending that entire amount in 1 year, but we need to come up with an application form. This is non-credit bearing, so this does not run through financial aid. This will run through the business office, similar to our other workforce training workforce trainings that we're doing. So we'll get that process in place, and then we'll be starting to communicate that out to the public very soon. But yeah, we'll have $80,000 available, folks, to spend in 1 year's time. So it's a great opportunity. So we're very excited about that. Next week, we'll start advertising our casino night auction link. So last week, we got everything ready for our auction site, and we'll start pushing that information out to folks and promoting the event. Our casino night is coming up April 6th, and we were 100% sold out. So we're super excited about our event this year. Some of the operational things that I've been working on the last few months is our 990 has been filed. That was actually filed very early. Typically, we go down to the wire like May 15th, and this year we did it in January. So I'm glad to have that off my plate. That was taken care of, starting to look at our operating budget for next fiscal year, because as you know, we have our own separate operating budget. And then a couple of events coming up that the foundation always helps with. Energy City Voices will be having a fundraiser, Sonnets and Chocolates. If you've ever attended that, it's a really fun event. It's cocktails and lots of lovely desserts. That's going to be April 26th over at the Pronghorn Center. And they're only selling 100 tickets and they're going fast. I think we're down probably to maybe 70, 75. And those are $75 each. And you can purchase those on the foundation website. So we have those available. And then a couple other dates to remember. WYO Gives will be coming up July 10th. I was in a meeting on some changes that there will be for this year. One of the things that'll be happening is the large matching gift of $1 million from the Hughes Charitable Foundation. This year, they're going to award that differently. Before they kind of tried to guess when they hit the magic $1 million mark, and then everything received after that was not matched. This year, what they're going to do is they're going to look at your total donations you receive for WYO Gives and award it by a percentage. So I think that's much better. So that gives all of the donations that we receive an opportunity to be matched. So a small change there. And then our golf tournament is coming up August 23rd. Booster is having their golf tournament on May 4th. So we always have ours much later and much warmer time of the year. So with that, I would stand for any other questions.
Any questions for Ms. Gross? All right, well, thank you very
Nice
much.
job.
Thank you very much.
Moving on, Student Senate Report, Ashlyn Keeley. Welcome back.
Chair McGrath, I would just point out, this is Ashlyn's last report. So Ashlyn, thank you for all of the fine reports you've given to the Board of Trustees. We appreciate you very much.
Well, thank you. Good afternoon, Madam President and trustees. My liaison and I have created a presentation for you guys today regarding our involvement and accomplishments throughout the academic year. Okay. All right, so on this first slide, I've included the goals that we created at the beginning of the year. Our first one was to advocate and bring awareness to all clubs and organizations on campus to increase participation. One way that we have done this is we have attended different clubs and organizations meetings and helped to advertise their information. Our second goal was to build a communication plan to reach all students. A prominent way that we've done this is we've had our office hours in different buildings. And this has helped us to reach the different student populations on campus. This slide includes a list of some of our organizations and clubs on campus. This is not a comprehensive list. The Fellowship of Christian Athletes is our newest club. They were ratified March 7th, and so we're very excited for their journey. Creative Writing Club has been a massive support to Student Senate. They help out tremendously with our Hope Cupboard. And for our winter gear drive, they crafted homemade scarves for us. So we are very grateful for all of their support. This slide is a flashback to fall of 2023 of some of our campaigns. So the photo on the left is our secretary and liaison. They did a pop art stand. And in order for students to have a pop art, they had to answer the question of what is your favorite hobby? And so their goal was to just have a conversation with students and let them know what they were running for. The photo on the right is my campaign flyer. My campaign and election was themed around the Gilmore girls. We had 7 candidates running for 4 positions, and our voter turnout was 115. In October, Student Senate participated in the community event of Pumpkin Walk. We crafted a display called Coraline International. The idea behind this display was stemmed from the kids' TV show Coraline, and then we wrote in the represented countries that we had here at the time. We have a list up there of the 18 represented countries that we had at the time of Pumpkin Walk. From November to December, Student Senate hosted a winter gear drive as we recognized the financial barriers and need for this drive. It is currently set up in our Student Senate office. And while setting up the winter gear drive, we decided to reorganize and clean the Senate office. And we were hoping that this would help invite students into the office and bring more awareness to it, and consequently bring more awareness to Student Senate as a whole. So our office includes a massage chair and snacks that are frequently restocked. And these are 2 main factors of bringing students into the office. We hosted 2 resource fairs in February. All clubs and organizations had the opportunity to table and provide students with resources of their club or organization and what they stand for. These photos are included of the one we had at the Tech Center. So each executive member is required to chair at least 1 committee. And so these are some of our committees. Our Hope Cupboard has gone through reorganization, a deep cleaning, and several restockings throughout the academic year. Our Career Closet received a very generous donation by Hub International at the beginning of the academic year. And unfortunately, we did not have the space in our closet to accept all of them. So our solution to this was to host a flash pickup event in which all of the extra clothes were placed out in the commons, and students were free to take the clothes as they wish. And any clothes that were not taken were donated to Salvation Army. Our Library Resource Committee is a partnership between the library and Student Senate. This is a way for us to give and take input with our library and provide any help that they might need on our end. Safety on Campus is a committee that works to promote safety and health on campus. And one way that we are currently working to do this is by working with the nursing club to host a hand washing event in which students would wash their hands, and then after that, we would take a black light and shine it over their hands. And this would catch any germs that was missed in that process. And so this helps us to emphasize the importance of hand washing, especially during flu season. Student Senate, we play an active role in volunteering in our community. So here are some photos of that in action. The top left is members of Creative Writing Club, as well as members of Senate volunteering with the Yes House. The photo next to it is members of Senate volunteering at the Chili Cook-Off. The bottom left is members of PTK and members of Senate volunteering with the Council of Community Service for their food drive that they did over winter break. And then the photo on the bottom right is members of Senate volunteering at the Children's Festival. To support our rodeo community and teams, we sponsored a $500 table at the rodeo banquet. We had members of Creative Writing Club, Nursing Club, ECV, and GC Science Association join us. We have our General Assemblies the first Thursday of every month. These are available for all students, staff, and faculty to attend, and is a brilliant way for input and information to be cycled. Our last General Assembly, we had about 20 students attend, which is the highest number so far this year. And these are a couple photos of us just before running our meeting. So this slide includes our accomplishments in quantity. So each executive member is required to complete 2 hours of office hours per week. So approximately that equates to 32 hours per member, which is 160 hours comprehensively as a team. And then each executive member is also required to complete 20 hours of community service, which equates to a minimum of 100 community service hours together as a team. We've also attended about 8 clubs and organizations meetings. These have included meetings of Active Minds, Creative Writing Club, Machine Tool Club, FCA, GC Science Association, Skills USA, Post 307, and Student Activities Board. So some upcoming events on our end. We have the hand washing event that we are working with the nursing club with. We are planning for mid-April. We are currently brainstorming class gift discussions. Our list currently includes putting the money towards our Hope Cupboard or our Student Emergency Fund, an art piece, or a Weasel printer for the Health Science Building. The class gift will be put on the ballot of elections once it is approved. And the timeline for elections follows as applications will be open April 8th to April 12th. Voting will be open from April 15th to April 19th. And then the current Senate team will be prepping the incoming Senate team from April 22nd to May 1st. And then our student fee allocations will be happening in May for us to support our clubs and organizations. So that wraps up the presentation. I thank you guys for your support, and Student Senate is looking forward to the upcoming years.
Ashley, that's amazing. And thank you for all of your work and your time and effort and energy and help with this board. Any questions?
Thank you for your report, Ashley. It's nice to see everything that Senate has been working on. What is a DAO?
A DAO stands for District Affiliated Organization.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Just a comment, Ashley, you set the bar high. You and this existing executive cabinet have set the bar high for the next Student Senate, and I very much appreciate it. It's nice to see all of the things that you've accomplished in the year that you've been in this position. Please share our thank you and our appreciation to the rest of your Student Senate members, and we wish you much success.
Thank you very much.
And thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'm brainstorming here. I'm wondering, Ashley, would there be any way that we could help promote your presentation? There are organizations in town. I think it would just be lovely. And I mean, your 10 years coming to an end, the school year's coming to an end. But I don't know, maybe if there's some way, this wonderful product that Maggie helped me put together, it would make a wonderful Rotary presentation, PEO presentations. I'm blown away. I mean, I've been on the advisory board with Trustee Palmer for a long time, and yeah, you have blown the top off of the compilation of what you've done, and they've done such good work throughout all the years. And I know a lot of those things have been in order, such as the closets and stuff, and the cupboards for a long time. But to be able, seeing is believing. And so, yeah, your presentation just really capitalized on what we're all here for. And that's for you. It is for our Student Senate. So I don't know, as a brainstorm, I'd like to take the show on the road. Let's go.
As a member of the Noon Rotary Club, I would be delighted to bring you as a guest if you're willing to share this presentation.
Wow.
We meet on Thursdays, we can connect afterwards and discuss, but I agree with Trustee Wasberger. I think that's amazing to highlight what the Student Senate, but the college is doing beyond what you read in the paper.
Yeah.
And not that that's bad, don't get me wrong, Cassie, but like the ins and outs of what's really, why y'all are here, so.
Thank you.
Any other questions, thoughts? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Moving on to old business, I don't see any. Correct me if I'm wrong. We will move on to-
Chairman Graff, there is no old business to bring forward.
Moving on to new business. First reading of policy 3000.34, incident management. Dr. Overlander.
Chair McGrath, we're gonna do that for the rest of our time together.
Yeah.
Chair McGrath and trustees, this is your first reading of policy 3000.34. It is our policy on incident management. Of course, the procedure that goes along with this is our emergency management plan, which is on my desk being edited right now. But basically, this says that we'll maintain a comprehensive emergency management and operations program. We'll practice it, and we will follow FEMA guidelines, Homeland Security guidelines, and Department of Education guidelines. It brings us into compliance.
Again, to the board, it's our first reading. Any discussion? Entertain, yes.
If I may.
Okay.
Chair McGrath. So with the entities that are listed there, FEMA, Homeland Security, I'm thinking of the pandemic, and I don't know if health issues, to me, that certainly goes under emergency preparedness. If the CDC or something, maybe as a suggestion, should be a part of that.
We can certainly add it in. We can certainly look at Trustee Wasserberger. We also know that this is part of our clearing requirements too. So, but yeah, I will make a note of.
It's just a brainstorm.
Or Wyoming Department of Health,
Yeah,
wherever the
yeah.
appropriate agency is.
Right.
Yep, got it. Good for that. Thank you.
Chair McGrath, so moved.
Second.
Excellent. So it's been moved by Trustee Palmer and seconded by Trustee Smith to approve the first reading of policy 3000.34, incident management with the potential changes. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. On to the first reading. First reading of policy 4000.12, corrective action. Dr. Overlander.
Chair McGrath and trustees, this is the first reading of a human resources policy on corrective action. This policy just sets up that our district and our supervisors have the opportunity to take employees through corrective action should the opportunity arise. And it just sets that policy. The procedure that follows this is the performance improvement plan that is set out. Our human resources department has developed that. And it is just the policy to go along with that procedure. I will add that both of these procedures were reviewed by our district council yesterday, so they know this is first reading. If they have further feedback, we'll have that before the April board meeting, but also it was taken to our leadership, deans and directors, who also shared it with their departments. And at this time, there's been no feedback that has come back up to us. But if there is, we'll have that ready for you at the next board meeting.
And thanks.
Policy 4000.12 corrective action.
Excellent. First. Second. Okay. It's been moved by Trustee Anderson and seconded by Trustee Williams to approve the first reading of policy 4000.12, corrective action. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. All right. Moving on. Ratification of the foundation board member, executive director Gross.
Thank you, Chair McGrath. So before you today, the foundation is requesting ratification of Mrs. Tony Bell to our foundation board. Tony served on our board several years ago and then stepped off when she ran for the school board, and she served as a Campbell County School Board trustee for 4 years. Anyway, she expressed interest in joining our board again. We did have a board member step off due to family commitments. And so it was kind of like perfect timing. And Tony happens to be a CPA, which we always like to have a CPA on our board as well. So the board approved her application, and we're thrilled to have her back on our board and thrilled to have her expertise back as well.
Excellent. Thank you.
Mhm.
I moved it.
Second.
Trustee Smith moved, Trustee Smith moved, and Trustee Palmer second to ratify new foundation board member Tony Bell. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Well done. Welcome back to
Thank
the
you.
board.
Thank you.
Please tell her congratulations.
And
Yes.
thank you.
I will, absolutely. Thank you.
All right. Northern Wyoming Community College District Athletic Scholarship Payment Approval, Vice President Larson.
Good afternoon, Chair. Good afternoon, Chair McGrath and trustees. You have before you an invoice from NWCCD for $381,821.25. It's for scholarships for the athletic students as well as the Energy City Voices. And the reason it's in front of you is because it's above our delegation of authority matrix that says we do not have the authority to spend that kind of money without board approval. So my request is that you would approve this invoice for us to pay.
Trustee Wasberg.
Chair McGrath, I move that we move forward with the payment approval. Second.
It has been moved by trustee Wasberger and second by trustee Gee to approve the Northern Wyoming Community College District Athletic Scholarship Payment in the amount of $381,821.25. Trustee Palmer.
Just a question, Chair McGrath. Vice President Larson, so how many students is this? How many, what, this number of 381,000?
Chair McGrath and trustee Palmer, I have a breakdown by athletic team, but not number of students. The amounts are for equal the amount for an in-state tuition. There's room and board fees and a couple of other costs that are included in each scholarship. I can tell you that each one of the teams and Energy City Voices were within the budgets that we had for the each semester. So except for one, men's basketball, and the foundation has agreed to accept the difference. They went slightly over their budget for the semester, but for the semester on the whole, we're still under budget for the entire athletic department.
I guess, and I'm good with this. I would just like to know how many students this helps or assists, because I think that's important because again, I continue to hear that from a select minority that there are concerns about us bringing back programs, activities, and I'd like to know the number of students that we're assisting in this process. So, and not to catch you, I didn't mean to catch you off guard. And so, if that's something that you or President Overlander could report back to us,
Absolutely.
so if we're out in the community, we can have this constructive discussion.
Great point, trustee Palmer. I would add too that I think that not all of them are full rides either. So you're stretching that money across 20 soccer players, 20 women's soccer players.
Correct.
So yeah, that would be great if you could bring that back at the next board
Absolutely.
meeting just to report.
Sure thing.
Trustee Williams.
You're part of the Booster Club.
Yes, sir.
So how does a Booster Club and this scholarship work back and forth? Or are you entirely separate in terms of what they do and what you do?
They're entirely separate. Now, there are times that they come to us for supplement of money for out of state versus in state for other things. Trustee Smith, correct me if so I don't misspeak here, but the Booster Club is there to help supplement this and offset some of this as well. But this is separate from the Booster Club in terms of dollars.
Correct.
Trustee Gee. Okay.
Go ahead. Thank you.
Let's go, trustee. Okay, we're going President Overland.
Chair McGrath and trustees, I would just clarify, it's not the foundation that's covering the overages, it's the Booster
Oh,
Club.
did I say foundation? I'm
It's
sorry.
okay. The Booster Club report, the money goes through the foundation, but the scholarships that for example, men's basketball would not have been awarded unless they had money in their Booster Club account. And so before they could award those scholarships, they had to provide documentation. They had the money in Booster Club accounts to cover. So it's Booster Club that covers the overage.
Trustee Gee.
Thank you. I think this is a great discussion. Appreciate you having it. Can you explain for the public's sake why we are paying for these scholarships to NWCCD?
Trustee Gee, yes, well, because the program is ours and the students are ours, and we had in our budget scholarship money from operational budget. Um, you know, if there are scholarships available, I guess I don't really have
Is it
any way to answer
tuition?
that
And
question.
so we're-
It's tuition and fees and.
So we're paying it to NWCCD and then are we getting any of it?
No, it works similar to the other scholarships that we have in our budget that are institutional funds available to support students.
So how, if I can, Dr. Oberlander, how will this change upon accreditation, if at all?
Absolutely. So Chair McGrath, trustees. So once we're accredited and we're collecting that tuition and fee, it really does become institutional scholarships, right? So there won't be money going out, but it's money that covers the tuition and fees, housing for those students. So we budget for it in our budget to cover that. Right now, because we're still, the tuition is covered at NWC, we have to pay that for those scholarships. Yeah, no.
So just so I'm clear, currently, the mill that is paid that we're using to operate this institution is the scholarship portion of it is being paid to NWCCD.
For the scholarship portion, yes.
Correct.
To cover the cost of tuition for those students. And this is tuition and fees. So housing stays here.
And so we are paying the faculty who are teaching these classes, but we don't get any of the scholarship money back to cover that cost.
Chair McGrath, we have to cover the cost of the scholarships, yes.
And we do receive the tuition payments from the other students back to us. So technically, they could just offset this with their payment to us. But for auditing reasons, we invoice each other.
So does that clarify that, at least on the auditing reasons? And let me clarify also, because they're NWCCD students, that's.
Sure.
So for the public, that until we are fully accredited, they are still NWCCD students. And that's why we are still conjoined with them and have that relationship with NWCCD, which is going well, but
So does it wash then?
well, not fully.
Correct.
Because we get the fees back,
We
but
would-
the cost of the
We get the
classes.
net.
Trustee Paulman.
Well, I
Thank you.
think, and great comment and great question. I think it's, again, because it is it's that gap that we have. It's that bridge that we're still crossing with Sheridan College. And Chair McGrath, I think Vice President Larson's correct. It could have been washed out, but because of the audit, you have to have a distinction between what's a scholarship and what's tuition fees and those. At the end of the day, we are getting more money back, certain tuition fees than what we're paying or expending in terms of scholarships, but you have to look at it separately. And so, and yes, this all goes away once we're fully accredited. It's just that, as you so eloquently said, Mr. Chairman, they are continuing to be Northern Wyoming Community College District students.
Thank you.
Great point. Which
So,
also goes, great, one second, I'm sorry, which also goes back to our letter of candidacy.
yes.
It's moving one step closer to us being fully accredited. So, Trustee Anderson.
So this scholarship payment includes room and board and books and things like that?
It includes tuition and fees, and I'm not sure about books. And there are some room and board charges in here.
So then do we get back room and board
Yes.
fees? Okay.
Well, not for scholarship students, but all the other students. So our net is all the tuition and fees that would have been paid if everybody was paying 100%, less what we're paying on behalf of those, well, I'm using my hands, less what we're paying on behalf of those who aren't paying themselves.
It's
Trustee.
Mr. Chair, Trustee Anderson, it's no different than if they were that if we weren't paying NWC, we still have to pay ourselves.
Right.
And so there will still be a separate expenditure for scholarship students once we're fully accredited.
Correct.
And we don't receive that income, I guess if I can use that, or that fee for housing and tuition, because that's the scholarship.
Correct.
That the scholarship's paying that, and we as trustees are approving those dollars for scholarships. The only difference now is the cog in the system is that money still has to flow through NWCCD, but it will be no different once we're fully accredited. We'll still have a separate accounting for and a separate expenditure for
Correct.
those students that are under scholarship. And that could be a student that's an academic scholar, as well as an athletic scholar, as well as an Energy City Voices scholar. Any of our scholarships will be that way.
That are institutional.
Correct. Yes.
But,
I hope that helps.
say somebody's got a room and board scholarship. We send that money to NWCCD. Do they then pay Fresh Start?
Fresh
or-
ideas.
Or Fresh Ideas for?
Now you're getting into all sorts of accounting. No, we're an invoice base from Fresh Ideas. So all the expenses that happen over there come to our business office on a monthly basis and we pay that. Yeah, I'm not sure if that.
So I think trustee Anderson's question is, if we're paying, use shared instead of, but NWCCD money that the students are actually eating here at Fresh Ideas, how is that cost being covered? Does that make sense?
Say that again.
Well, because when she asked you earlier if you're paying room and board and some of that board
Mhm.
was going to NWCCD.
Okay, yes.
So now we're paying NWCCD money. But then we have to turn around and pay Fresh Ideas on a monthly invoice. Are we paying it twice, or is there money coming back? Or are we deducting the board part of it and it's just tuition fees, books?
I know at least 2 board scholarships, so I might have to get back to you on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is just, that is fair. Yes, please.
That might be a good item to add into our budget.
Yes.
For further discussion.
Yeah, so we have a better understanding and maybe even a diagram. I guess we understand.
Yeah.
And I understand some of this
Circles and
is
arrows and like.
agreed. And some of this, especially when we're completely on our own, is shifting money from your right pocket to your left pocket.
Correct.
And that's the analogy, you know. But right now, we're
Right.
shifting money from our right pocket to our left pocket, which is partially NWCCD, and then they're gonna shift some back
Mhm.
and here we go. So if you could report back in.
I think the nuance here is that Fresh Ideas it's a different kind of contract because we are so small. You know, other schools have just a fee base. They charge a fee and then they turn around and charge their students a fee. We weren't able to get that contract. Again, because we're so small, we weren't able to commit to a certain number of students. And so we had to go with an income-based contract with them. But
Which
yes, I
I
understand.
understand that, but I understand trustee Anderson's question
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
is, if we're sending money for shared and for board,
Mhm.
So they're already here.
but they're boarding here,
But we,
that's what we need to clarify.
and we do, yes.
Chair
And we-
Palmer, trustees, might I
Chair
recommend?
McGrath, but that's okay.
I'm sorry, Chair McGrath, trustees, might I request that this is tabled? I am not at this point comfortable approving this. I want a little bit more detail and I am remiss of not understanding this fully before we brought it to your attention. May we table this until the April board meeting so I can further understand and make sure that we're able to answer all of these questions fully. I think that's a better approach than approving this today.
And my question follow-up would be, I agree, I'm just curious what the timeline is for NWCCD if it creates problems. As long as it's within this budget year, it should be okay.
So having said that, do it, yep.
You need a motion?
I do need a motion to
I
table
motion
this.
that we table this until next meeting.
Thank you, trustee Williams. Do I need to withdraw
want
her
me to-
motion or no, we're just tabling
Tabling
it?
is fine, so I'll second trustee Williams' motion to table until the next board meeting.
Okay, so it has been moved by trustee Williams and seconded by trustee Gee to table this discussion on the NWCCD athletic scholarship payment in the amount of $381,821.25 for more information purposes until the April meeting. Any further discussion? Great discussion. Thank you, everybody.
Great
I
questions.
think
Thank you.
all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Trustee, or I mean, Vice President Lawrence, thank you for all your work.
Thank you.
Okay, excellent. Apologize, give me 1 second. Yep, moving on to committee reports. I just wanted to get back to my computer. Committee reports, governance committee report.
Chair McGrath, we have that A2A discussion before committee reports, unless you want to move that to the next.
I don't have that on mine.
Oh, yeah.
Right under athletic
Right there.
scholarship approval, A2A.
Yeah, you're right.
What is A2A? Well, so let's discuss the A2A. There it is. The A2A, which is assessment to action that President Overlander and myself sat on with some other folks. And so I'm going to turn it over to President Overlander and we can discuss it.
Chair McGrath, trustees, thank you. So the city of Gillette invited Gillette College to participate in an A2A committee, which is a committee an initiative through the Wyoming Business Council. And so there was representatives from the city, there was Commissioner Ford was there, Jessica Cedars,
OET.
OET. So we had a nice representation and really talking about how we move forward in our community with economic development. Since that time, you may be aware that Phil Christopherson has resigned, or is retiring, not resigned, is retiring from the Energy Capital Economic Development, which opens up the door for further, what is the next restructure for that organization? And certainly the executive board from Energy Capital Economic Development is now involved in the A2A. So we've had some really great conversations. The Office of Economic Transformation did a feasibility study. They brought all the information together from the reports. And the role that the college really comes out strong with is the entrepreneurship ecosystem. And what does that look like? And so as part of the conversation and part of restructuring of economic development, what is the college willing to be part of? What is the college willing to take on? What are we willing to be at the table with? And so from my lens and from the lens of those around the table is really embracing that entrepreneurship piece. We have this corridor, this entrepreneurship corridor with Area 59, the incubator and the college right here. Do we restructure our business department? Do we restructure workforce development? All of that to be encompassing of entrepreneurship in our community and training for that next level of entrepreneurs. So those are the discussions that are going on. We know we have a business instructor in our budget. We know that we have 2 good candidates coming forward. We look forward to having someone on, but is it bigger than just the business department? I think it probably is. Those are the discussions I'm interested to have with the board, and it might be better to do that in a workshop so we can bring some of those partners to the table. Chairman McGrath, what am I missing?
Not much. Great report. The only thing I would add is that, I mean, it's really a combination of people across a whole lot of entities. I think the hospital will probably be moving into this as well of moving economic development forward, industry in a whole lot, but what is everybody's lane? From the hospital, or excuse me, from the city to the county to economic development to the college, Office of Economic Transformation, which is under Executive Director Gross, and that would include Rusty Bell and Dan Miller. So, Trustee.
So, Chairman Grant, President O'Leary, just a question. Did this also include UW? And the reason I say that is because the Wyoming Small Business Development Center is now through UW. And of course, they have a large role in terms of business startup, those kind of things. And then the other reason is because of cooperative extension and their role with the agricultural industry. And egg, there's a lot of, to me, budding egg entrepreneurs out there that also need to be part of this discussion for at least our county and our district. So
it's a great point. I don't believe that the University of Wyoming was a part of those discussions, but I think going forward, and the Wyoming Business Council is planning or has had several of these discussions with other communities across the state we were the second one that they've done, which was, you know, Amber Power and Brandy Harlow. And it was a full day. It was very good. I think there was a lot to come from it and a lot to be excited about for Campbell County. So
I think the main focus for the group that was at the table is just what Chair McGrath said, is how do we make sure the entities are together and not we're going in this direction, county's going in this direction, city's going in a different direction. But how do we make sure we're still have synergy happening in this realm? I believe we did have some conversation about small business, SBD, right?
UWSVDC.
SBDC coming to the table. And so, because we have somebody local for that. So more to come, but again, I think there's more conversation to be had from the trustees. What is it you're willing to have the college be part of? So we proposed tentatively a workshop on April 16th to talk about that, but also in addition to that workshop, it's time to start talking a little bit more seriously now about the NZ building and also about the land and building transfer. So that would give us that workshop to have those discussions. So the economic development conversation, entrepreneurship, and then NZ and land and building transfer. And we could certainly do the workshop April 16th. We could do it at your pleasure, or if you would not prefer not to do that, up to you as well.
So having said that, we'll open that part up for discussion on this particular workshop sometime in April. April 16th does not work, correct? Because that is the school board meeting? Or was that? Am I wrong?
April 16th is not. It's
April.
okay.
Oh, yeah, it was May. Okay. We talked about doing that April 16th, if everybody would look at their calendars and see if that's a time that would work for you in the evening, starting at, 5:30, 6 o'clock, somewhere in there.
And what?
April 16th. Okay, if you
Just
would
as one member.
please tentatively put that on your calendar for April 16th for a workshop to discuss the NZ building and the land and transfers along with the HOA.
What time?
Wow,
To be announced.
how about 5:30? 5:30, please.
5:30
Yes.
here.
Mhm. And we'll invite some of the other partners to the table for that.
All right.
Thank you.
This time for real, moving on to the committee reports. Governance committee report.
Chair McGrath and trustees, the only thing I would report is that trustee Palmer has provided some edits for the board handbook. Ellie will begin making those edits, and then we will certainly let you know when those are updated. Anybody else have anything to add for that board handbook?
Trustee Wasserberger had some things that she wanted to talk about later after the meeting.
Yeah, I don't know that, I don't need to take time during this meeting since we have representatives, so I would love to talk with, I just made a couple notes as I went through it. So if I could just share it with the committee representation.
Excellent.
Perfect.
The WACT legislative update from Aaron Taylor. There was a written report. Aaron's unable to join us today. There is a written report. Trustee Palmer. Oh, you're just, okay. Is there anything in particular on that you want to discuss?
Chair McGrath, trustees, the only thing that we're still, of course, we have not heard if the governor has signed the bill yet. I don't think he has as of yet today. The property tax bills, of course, we're waiting to see. I know Michael Swank at the commission is working on and has worked on what those scenarios would be. So I know Vice President Larson's actively engaged in how these property bills will impact us. I think interesting to point out just in the biennial budget bill, that the employee compensation, the community colleges are going to get 1.2 million, which works out for the 7 colleges. We won't get that, about 144,000 each. Something for us to think about as we go into the future. The unappropriated ARPA funds, we'll see what happens with those. And of course, the innovative partnership, 15 million, we're getting ready to submit our plans for WIP phase 3. We're pleased about the Wyoming Tomorrow Scholarship Endowment being fully funded, or the intention to fully fund that. That'll be great for those adult learners. There is that 2.5 million to cover that cost before the endowment starts producing and kickstart Wyoming's Tomorrow scholarships. And of course, for us, it's the land and building transition and also the NZ building. So I think there's some good things in here for the colleges, but also for us. So
President Oberlander, so one question, the 144,000 is going to the remaining 7 community colleges. Even if we were fully accredited, by not assessing the 4 mills, we would not be eligible.
correct.
So I mean, just so people understand that's money that we're not eligible for at this point.
That's
in time.
correct.
So,
That's correct.
okay.
How much discussion was there down there in relationship to bringing back funds to Gillette, our college, in relationship to the other 7 colleges? I mean, was there any discussion at all that we received something
For what?
for our, so I don't want to say, for our, well, the other colleges get X number of dollars.
Well,
We get nothing, so.
well, the reality though is there's, in statute, there's 2 milestones we have to meet. We have to meet accreditation and you have to assess 4 mills before we would get state appropriations. So those 2 things have to be met, those 2 requirements before this district would be eligible for state appropriations. Now, the governor did approve us to receive WIP funding, and students here will receive Wyoming's Tomorrow Scholarship. But those other appropriations, we do not qualify for at this point.
Trustee Williams, and from that, it was an interesting legislative session anyway, but no, I don't think there's any discussion, even from our local delegation, to try to bring any more money back to Gillette College in any way, shape, or form because of those 2 things. And while that would be great to help cover and offset the cost of health insurance and retirement, right now, that's not in there. It wasn't in the cards for this legislative session.
Well, I understood I understood when we went down there that this was gonna be, I don't know, a priority list for our college. And some of our representatives were gonna support. We get back X number of dollars, even though we are not 4 mil.
Well,
So,
I guess what I would answer to that is that I don't think there was a specific bill written for that, and that's what it would take, is that there would have to be a bill written or a change in the constitute, so that doesn't have trustees or statutes, trustee Palmer.
Yeah, I think, Trustee Williams, you bring up an excellent discussion. I guess I have one question that I'll ask you. I think that the intent was, and you're right, I think there was certainly intent, and I think the intent remains there. But the opening sessions of this legislative session, I think, set the stage, unlike any previous sessions, in anything that may have been thought about trying to discuss or move forward didn't occur and couldn't occur because of the conversations that were going on and just and this is my term, and just the discourse that was occurring down there. And so I think certainly this needs to remain high on ours. And I think as others have said, certainly as we become fully accredited, I think that this discussion needs to have more. But I do have a question, if I might, Chair McGrath and President Women. So when you mentioned that our students are eligible for the WIP funding in the Tomorrow program, when we become fully accredited and these students become ours, will they also then be fully eligible for the Hathaway Scholarship?
Chair McGrath, Trustee Palmer, they should be, but that's a really good thing for us to make sure that we have that documented. So I will follow up with our senators.
Okay.
Delegation.
And follow up, Trustee Williams, I think that's a great discussion to continue to go forward and continue to push this for our college and the voters and the citizens of Campbell County to help offset the cost that we contribute to the state in a whole lot of ways.
Chair McGrath,
Yes.
what I would tell you, Trustee Williams, is there were multiple contacts made with our delegation regarding support for Gillette Community College District, not only from me, but also from our trustees. But as Trustee Palmer said, this session was a difficult session. And so we have to, now we move on. And so we'll have the legislative wrap up is on the 28th with the Chamber of Commerce, but then we'll start looking for a date when we can bring the delegation to meet the trustees and leadership here so we can debrief. There is a question that I need to understand from our delegation because the capital construction bill, our delegation felt that it didn't belong in capital construction process. but that's our avenue through. So I want to further understand that from their perspective. Because we still have buildings that we'll have to transition in the future. So, yeah, so more to understand for sure.
Yeah, trustee Hayes.
President Overlander, if the governor signs or does not veto the open carry law, will that impact the security that we need to provide in our dorms?
Chair McGrath, trustees, that's a really great question. And all of the colleges are trying to get their heads wrapped around what that means for their colleges. We currently, of course, have an officer on campus during the day, and we've recently brought security into the residence halls in the evenings. And so we now have a presence in the evening, not only in the hall, but here on campus. So I think that's helpful, definitely, but all of the colleges are trying to wrap their heads around. This board probably needs to have a discussion what that means for your meetings. If anything, and you all as a group may not feel that there's anything more that we need to do, so, but I think it's an implication across the college.
Well, and my guess is that that would be, sorry.
Go ahead.
Thank you. That will be a broader discussion among school districts and the colleges and
Hospitals.
yeah, hospitals, and it's likely that there will be some policies and procedures that are proposed globally from the bodies that, you know, such as the Community College Commission and the School Board Association. And so I would envision that there'd be a lot broader conversation about where that goes, so.
A good question. Good question.
Any other further questions? All right. Then at this point, then I would request a motion to move into executive session to discuss a legal matter pursuant to Wyoming State Statute 164405 A3.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. It has been moved and seconded that we move into executive session to discuss a legal matter pursuant to Wyoming State Statute 164405 A-3. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. So for the public, there will be no action taken coming out of this. So if you don't want to come back, by all means, we will have public comment afterwards. So if you'd like to make a public comment afterwards, we would ask that you stick around and hang out. But other than that, just know that.
Thanks.
Also, the live stream is going to end since there's no action taken afterwards. Trustee Wasberg.
That was it?
Oh.
Yeah, I was just